Now, it's been no secret that the Fed has held very strong on rates after they started raising them back in 2022. And so now the housing market is dealing with a lot of challenges. Here in Southwest Florida, we started those challenges a couple of years ago where the sales started to slow, prices started to come back a little bit, but now that's starting to reach other parts of the United States, and so people are taking notice. Now, here is what's about to happen. There are 3 proposals out there right now that if they do come to fruition would make a massive impact on the real estate market in the entire United States of America, and especially here in Florida. Now, here's the deal. Jerome Powell, we don't know if he's going to reduce rates. There is another meeting coming up here at the end of July, and I saw something today that was posted on X where he's wearing a green tie, and 8 out of 10 times in the last out of the last 10 meetings that they've had where he wears a green tie means that he's going to reduce rates. Who knows? There's also conversation about him resigning. But assuming that that does not happen, here are the things that will make a giant impact. So number 1, there is a new bill that's being proposed that would actually eliminate all capital gains on your primary residence. Now, if you're aware of this currently, right now there's no capital gains on $250,000 of gain of profit from your primary residence if you're single, or $500,000 if you file jointly. That's a pretty big deal, and I've taken advantage of that myself, and so you don't have to pay taxes on those gains on your primary residence. But this new bill proposes that there is no cap of $250,000 and $500,000, that it actually goes away completely, so that let's say you've been in your home a very long time, you don't want to make a move because you'd have to pay a giant capital gains tax on, anything above that $250,000, $500,000 threshold, and so you just don't do anything. You don't sell. Well, in this case, you could take all of that profit, no taxes on that, and go buy another property. And so this is very helpful for somebody who's potentially looking to downsize. Let's say, they're now a widow, they don't want to pay taxes on that, but they want to get a smaller property, less upkeep. This is a great scenario for somebody like that. What this does is it also makes the velocity of sales increase. So more homes would transact if that were the case, because they're not looking at that giant tax burden. So I think this would be a net positive. There's nothing, there's no downside to this. You pay less taxes, you have more money to buy real estate. Let's rock and roll. I think it's a great bill that they're proposing. Now let's talk about the other 2. So the first one, and this is great for anybody who's a renter looking to buy a home. So typically that would be your first time home buyer. This is being proposed through Bill Pulte, who's the director of Federal Housing Finance Agency. That rent would now count as, towards your mortgage, towards qualifying for a mortgage. And so if you've been paying $2,500 a year for a very long time, let's say that you have a home and you want to qualify for this home and the mortgage payment would be $2,300. Now you can say, hey, this person's had a great record of paying on time. They should be able to qualify based on their history of paying this much in rent. I think this is phenomenal. We also own a property management company here in Southwest Florida, and this would benefit all of the residents in a giant way to be able to utilize that past rent to help qualify for a mortgage. And I think it's good to have more people own homes. At the end of the day, that's how people gain wealth. This is a really big deal in the scheme of life. On to our third outcome that I think would be very helpful as well is that crypto. There's a lot of news about crypto. Bitcoin's hitting all-time highs. It's at $121,000, $122,000. Who knows what it'll be in the next coming days. But they are now saying that Bitcoin will be allowed, and other crypto will be allowed to be used as an asset for the qualification of a mortgage. Also a big deal. Like, I love all of these new rules around real estate. And so people who've had crypto wallets that have hundreds of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, or even millions of dollars before, in order to get financing, you either have to cash that out or you just couldn't count it whatsoever. And so now they're saying, hey, this is a true asset at this point. We should be counting that as an asset in order to help somebody be able to qualify for a mortgage. Because at the end of the day, if somebody has more assets than liabilities, that's a really good thing. It's a less risk for the lender. And if we can count that crypto as an asset, that could be a really big deal in the scheme of things. Now, A lot of people in the crypto space aren't necessarily going out of their way to report to the government what they own. Maybe this is a way that the government gets that information, but at the end of the day, I think it's a net positive for people who have the assets, want to qualify for a traditional mortgage. Bada bing, bada boom, we're ready to rock and roll. So tell me your thoughts. Do you think that these three changes are positive? And do we think that these are going to help the real estate market? I can just foresee a future where these are happening as well as rates being reduced, and all of a sudden we've got a lot of demand that comes out of the woodwork for real estate in general. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, make sure you like the video, and as always, have a blessed day.